Hello everyone, welcome back. So, why do we need to feel alive? We feel alive when we're at our best, let's say, when we care the most. And in a dead realm, in a place surrounded by darkness, death, we need to feel alive because we're constantly feeling dead, potentially, right? Let the dead bury the dead. One of Christ's sayings. Now, I feel personally most alive in three situations. In competitive scenarios, and that's my matrix makeup. Maybe feeling of unworthiness, right? Because that competitive scenario is pushing me to my absolute best because of that desire to win, desire to be the best and help my team, right? So two things happening: the Savior program and the unworthiness program. And that's in astrology we would call them Mars, right? The fighting spirit. In standing up for others, right? Again, matrix component, matrix characteristics, in which I am representing Mars again, fighting for others, fighting, going to war, maybe. They hate injustice. They hate seeing others maybe suffer at the expense of bullies. Again, matrix makeup, and again, something that happened earlier in my life where I maybe didn't stand up for others as a child, and now I'm trying to fix that. Okay? So again, matrix, let's say, if you want to consider that the matrix component, characteristics. But at my most, or the last component, which I seem like I don't have much to gain from, is truth. When desiring truth, desiring to find truth, to be truth, express truth, what the Greeks call agathon, I feel I am at my highest self potential, my most illuminating true self, right? When seeking truth, one can only have to be the highest truth. And the biggest thing I have to gain is my true self, right? By coming on here, expressing these things, or just being my authentic self, that gives me the ultimate freedom to be the most alive, because that is my most alive self, my most alive component, however we can categorize this ineffable categorization. And a desire to be that is a desire to embody potentially the unembodiable, if that's a word, the ineffable, right? So, if that becomes our biggest care, because in all those three scenarios, I care, right? When I'm not fighting for my team, when I'm displaying apathy, that's when I care least, right? And my team can see that because they know my potential, and they can see I'm not pursuing it because I don't care. And that's how they get us, through manipulation, coercion, whatever. It's through the manipulation of our caring nature, of what we care about. Not just caring nature, but what we care about. Sometimes personal and selfish, sometimes selfless, others. Regardless, though, those cares are still of this realm, of this world, right? Again, back to the Christ sayings, one must essentially abandon their own mother, father, sister, brother everything of this world to walk with him. Now, whether you believe he was real or not, whether the story was real or not, can at least serve as a method of inspiration. Because if it's true, then he cared the most. Because potentially the true story is that he went against all odds, against all Matrix games, or the ultimate Matrix phenomena game happening here, and played his own game, the game of the ineffable one, to then die, go to even a realm lower than this, potentially Tartarus or Hell, or however, whatever it may be called, rescue even some of those beings, and potentially make a way out for us to remember. However true that may be, I am not certain. I don't have the full truth. Because maybe I'm not myself connected to the truth fully. But it is an ultimate display of caring for, if not all of us that are the truth, but at least the ultimate truth itself. To at least display that in a realm of fiction, to display the truth. So that is what you have to gain. That ultimate ability to care for nothing but the truth. Because when you go out and you live everyday life, we get distracted. Why do people get into harmful relationships? Because they don't care. They're willing to ignore for the promise of somebody else potentially giving us a truth that they have, which is to us potentially fake, a fiction. When we become obese, when we don't take care of our bodies, it's because we don't care. We don't actually care, and we're willing to forego that into the future to the point where we have to care or we die. So, beyond that, beyond the nature of what we see close to us in our outside reality, we have to essentially push through that and form our care to what is the ultimate thing, and that is that ineffable spirit within us. When you begin to focus only on that and care solely about that, put that on the highest priority, that is when the truth begins to shine in your life. That is when you tap into your own authenticity and begin to embody that to the point where your cup overflows and others feel the contagious energy that comes, or to the point where you don't have to essentially save anyone, because you're saving yourself. You're accepting sovereignty. Another example, why do we sign contracts and go into places potentially that are not for our best benefit? Why don't we read all the terms? Because we don't care. We don't care. It's about caring. When you care, you do. It's right. It's directly proportional. The amount you care is directly proportional to the amount you do. The more you do essentially means the more you care. Usually, not always. I'm sure there are other examples that can disprove that. But usually, right, you make sure everything's right, you make sure everything goes well, right? Again, there implies some level of trust and faith and all of that, of course, but you do your best, the best that you can, right? You involve yourself to the maximum, give everything of yourself because you want to see that goal being achieved. So, when applying that to your spirituality, your spark, right? Because if we take this realm, whatever, as some sort of catalyst, as some sort of reflection, as some sort of fake reality, it is the ultimate potential for revealing our potential, right? It is the ultimate, I don't know, back against the wall type of reality, where it says either you do this now or you come back again and again and again and again. at least from how I see it currently. And to care means, again, to be willing to go through all obstacles, not necessarily fight, go out and fight and destroy and whatever, but on your path, be willing to find your path, your way forward, your way out, regardless of the obstacles that may be presented in front of you, regardless of the fear that they try to use against you. Right back to the Christ idea, he knew fully he would get crucified. Regardless of that, he went forward. Now that allows you to be your full authentic self without the care of what other people may think, because your care for that supersedes everything, right? For truth allows you to pursue that to its ultimate point. And in order to reach that ultimate point that we come from, I think that is the path forward. So I don't think, things like apathy or things like avoiding things necessarily is the way out. I think they play a part into that, right? If you're going down the road, obviously you want to avoid the rumble strips and the dirt part of the road, but your ultimate care has to be to go straight and follow the road, rather to follow the road, not to go straight. So your ultimate care has to be that ineffable being. Now, this ego that we have, these things that, let's say, are forged within us, they show us these aspects of our ego self, of this character that is being created in the process. And now you can say it functions as an overlay system, that it's distracting you from your true self, potentially. But like I said, those qualities that I mentioned earlier, the quality of that drive, that competition, that willingness to do whatever it takes. Because when I get in that state, if I get in that ultimate state of competitiveness, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win for my team. That feeling of fighting for injustice and stopping others from harming, especially the weak. There is the spirit still in that, right? Because it's pushing you to find through that avenue your truest self. So when they say know thyself, know your truest self, not what you've been given, right? Keep picking things up until what you pick up cannot be put down, right? Keep testing lies or statements or beliefs or ideas until one thing you test cannot be broken, cannot be torn apart. And what is that? That is the truth. If I say something is true, no matter what you say against it, it will still regard it as true. Now, what you may say can also be true, because we live in a realm of mirrors and perspectives and paradoxes, but that does not negate my truth, right? And in this paradoxical realm, two things can negate each other but still be truth at the same time. But I think that's an embodiment of this realm, right, of the mirror, of the duality. Something can be good and bad at the same time. That's why I don't think there's an absolute morality in this realm. But the ultimate truth is absolute. It is found in both of those things, and that is what you can take from both of those things. Just like why all mythologies and religions repeat. But at the seat of it, at the foundation of it, there is an ultimate truth that you can take and replicate that everywhere and build other things around it, right? It's an illusion built on a reality. That's why lies work best when there is a little bit of truth in them, because you see the truth and then you just naturally believe everything else. Again, because you don't care enough to pursue only the truth, and you accept what comes with it. and you fully care, you develop that discernment, which makes you essentially against the serpent. That's what came to my mind. Because you see the winding paths of the lies, right? You see how they can take you in circles and spin you around, right? And make you lose your direction. But when you have truth within you, you know your direction is always back to it. And that's why no matter where they spin, if that truth acts like a compass, then you can always tap back into it. When you speak the truth, when you embody the truth, you call back parts of your true self, parts of your soul, your spirit, to you. When you sell your soul, when you tell lies, when you act against what you feel is right for you, then, like I said, you sell your soul. You give up parts of your spirit. You give them to people. You enter that relation, you give up part of yourself to that person. It's never really theirs, right? You can always pull it back, but it's like this play, this fiction, because that's all that works here. It's a fiction. It's an illusion, trick, making you think that you've given yourself away, and now you're stuck, right? And then they use fear on top of that to intimidate and prolong that more and more and more. So what happens when you're in that relationship? You're scared of letting them go. Why? Because you think you won't find somebody else, somebody that loves you for you the way you think they do, or someone that accepts you, someone that you think you can then have the same experience with, but not knowing that experience was a lie to begin with. Yeah, I think that's the message I wanted to share today. So thank you for listening. Again, that's the need we need. That's the reason we need to feel alive, because we haven't been embodying that truth, right? When you are alive in a dead realm, you stop seeking it from the dead, from the death realm, and you just are. You connect to the truth, letting you feel that again, letting you feel your true essence, true spirit again. So again, thank you for listening. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. I really felt the need to get that out like right away, because that's, I don't know, just something that came up within me in like the past 30 minutes. So let me know what you thought. Yeah, subscribe, and see you guys next time. Take care.